I signed a contract where I agreed that in the middle of the contract, my rent will be raised by $200. The landlord's argument is that the rent is way below the neighborhood amount of rent. Is there anything I can do now if I realize that I won't be able to make that new rent amount?
I would say, I mean, if you have signed something, it's always the kind of the worst scenario because, it is a contract. But I also feel like now is a pretty good time to talk to the landlord because there are a lot of folks who aren't able to pay any or like very sporadic rent. And, um, someone who, if you have a good history of paying what what has been your lease amount all along and say, look, I can continue to pay this, but I can't pay this other, maybe can we revisit it in 6 months? Or, uh, I think now is probably a better time to negotiate than normal. Because a landlord would have to be just like really a bold fool. If you've got a good tenant to say, no, I mean, he can't even get into eviction court. If you do a declaration and say that's why you can't pay the extra 200. And even if you can get into eviction court because somebody isn't paying you 200, well, you have to pay 400 to go to court. No one has been evicted in Cook County except for health and safety violations since February of 2020. You get an eviction order today, you can't enforce it because of the sheriff. You can't. God only knows really when a landlord is going to be able to enforce that eviction order. So anyone who is unwilling to deal with a tenant who's just saying I can't pay a $200 rent increase just seems really stupid to me. But just hopefully that little analysis of where you have a little bit better than normal bargaining power is kind of helpful to go into the landlord. And again, referring back to my mother or hear my grandmother, you get more with honey than vinegar. And if you go in and politely say, I can't do this, this is what I can do, this is what I have been doing for you, can't we work this out? I talk with lots of landlords attorneys and landlord lobbyists, and they say to me, our big problem right now is that tenants aren't talking to us. So I don't know. They do say that to me all the time. So I'm going to advise trying to go in and talk to this landlord.
And just to reiterate, the Center for Conflict Resolution has a free service that can help you do that with a trained neutral third party. So if that's ever helpful, I'm going to post the information in the chat right here and just give us a call or connect with me and I can find a time to talk with you more offline.
Amazing.
That's also a great reason, Lucas, to contact your neighbors as well. If you were asked to sign a contract, pretty likely that your neighbors were also asked to sign the contract or are also experiencing a rent hike as well. They probably have the same interests and concerns as you. So I would say it's a great time to reach out to your neighbors.